Hi guys, it's Brett from Limestone Permaculture, and today we're going to be talking about espaliered methods and how they're utilised as an integrated system on your farm, your homestead and your back garden. So let's take a look. Here on Limestone Farm, it's early winter. We haven't had any frosts as of yet. They usually hit about July coming into August, but it's still time to get that maintenance going. So we're starting lifting nets on the espalier, we're starting to prune, pulling out old pumpkin vines. But what I want to talk to you today about is the actual espalier setup and the benefit of using the espalier system integrated in with things like alley cropping, in between orchards, knowing that it's going to be near your animals so you can use the prunings for animal fodder. So let's just have a quick look at the structure. Essentially it's just the metal star pickets as the main posts. They average around about 3 meters spacing between. Our wiring in between, look, you can have 3 wires, 4 wires, 5 wires, and the height of it can be whatever you can reach to. But essentially your goal is to set it up so you can reach. So for me, setting the netting up on the last wire at about my reach here is perfect. And you know, the first wire down here is where the first espalier branch can start coming out at. Essentially you have these rows of wires coming through a series of posts. We have a stay or a brace at the back, and we use a what's called a gripple. Some of you guys might know that in the rural area, but a gripple is a fixing lug for joining wire, but you can keep tensioning it. So at different times of the year we can put an actual gripple tool on that and keep tightening the wires as they loosen. So it just you know, that's something that you continue the maintenance on. Now the wires are generally just either blue steel or galvanized. You don't need to use galvanized posts, you can just use the straight up black star pickets, you know, and really if you can get second-hand stuff, that's the best. The netting, we use a Net Pro veg net, which is actually a fruit fly exclusion netting. We get asked why we don't use bird netting over our orchard. Well, the number one problem is fruit fly for us, but we have a problem with bats, we have a problem with birds. And if you're going to put something over your fruit and veg, make it multifunctional, you know. I mean, really, if you're thinking about netting for birds, you should be netting for pest insects and stuff as well. So just use the one type of netting. And bird netting has got its problems as well, you know, like nothing worse than coming down and finding a bird trapped in that netting by the leg or the beak. So this netting doesn't trap animals. You know, they can get caught inside, but it won't do them damage. The other thing, guys, I'll just talk about is the espalier in relation to where, you know, its relative location, its positioning, if you like. So if you look at this, you'll see that the espalier actually runs through a series of larger trees. Now these are deciduous trees, they're cherries. They're actually running through the middle. We have pruned the cherries so the espalier actually goes through them, but the cherry trees don't use the espalier. It's just purely to give us access through. So we have apples between our cherries, and then we obviously grow different kinds of plant guilds at the base. At this time of year, those plant guilds have all now died back and we're getting ready to mulch over and maybe put some winter cover crops in. So, you know, we had pumpkins and there would have been chives and lettuce and spinach. You know, there would have been even zucchinis and everything growing under these at one point. So, you know, it's a great little versatile system, highly productive. Then if you look down here along this row, this is classed as an alley crop. So what you get from your espalier in summer, especially when the netting's down, is you actually get protection. So our espalier is pretty much running north to south. That's giving us protection from the west, so those westerly winds and those filthy hot summer breezes that come through that do a lot of damage and evaporate your plants, this is helping with the protection zone. So not only have we got an orchard on swale giving us protection from one angle, and we've got larger trees, but we've also got that espalier down low, so this becomes an area that's really stabilized. You know, this is a microclimate. So, you know, we can grow corn down here and know that our corn isn't going to get blown over. At this time of the year, it's mainly carrots and beetroot. There are some leeks and spring onions and some miscellaneous rocket and whatnot. But, you know, it's just a nice little area. So, you know, when you're thinking about utilising or setting up an espaliered system, and we're mainly setting them up for apples and pears, well then you're setting them up also for all the different functions they can provide. Well, the benefits, guys, from setting up a system like this is the fact that, number one, you've got a solid structure that is actually going to support your fruit trees and give them the best start to life. The fact that you set the wire up off the ground allows, you know, room to set your mulching systems through and your plant guild. You may have cover crops and, you know, clovers and vetch and all that kind of thing growing underneath. You may have more vegetables growing underneath. This system just gives you that infrastructure and allows you to get in and around it. It also gives you that windbreak and that sort of shade break from the sun. One of the other bonuses is also it is virtually like a vertical fodder system, because at some point you've got to prune it. Whilst not going into a full pruning situation just yet, at the moment we've just put our nets up. We will come back to prune as winter goes on, but we'll just take a little pruning off this top section here, just a rough one, and we'll just show you the reason why we set our espalier up so close to our goats. You guys, here you go. Absolutely terrible when all they get to eat is apple leaves and pear leaves and drop fruit. So the goats definitely get a benefit of that. Plus they'll strip the bark off the branches. So, you know, when you're thinking about not just a system, think about its relationship to other elements on the farm or the backyard and garden. So, you know, this is set up for us so we can feed the offcuts and the prunings back to the animals. We've got it set up so it's acting as a protectorant for the smaller crops that are down low in the alley cropping zone. And what I want to do now, guys, is I just want to take you through how simple the actual netting process is. We're about to lift some more nets. We've already got some up, and just want to show you how absolutely incredibly easy it is. So follow me. It's as easy as this, guys. I mean, literally, the net just rolls over the top. It just pegs at the bottom, and then when it comes time in winter to wind it up so it gives you room ready to do the pruning, it's just a case of getting all the pegs off the wires. Roll the net up on one side, just hold it in position. And these nets, they stay out all year. So they're either down in summer, you know, mid-spring, summer, through to autumn, and then up in winter, but they never leave the espalier. And some of the nets, especially the ones down low, have been there for nearly 10 years. So this net, you know, as far as embodied energy goes, you know, you're getting something obviously manufactured. Something like this, if you can get 10, 15, 20 years out of a product, you're doing pretty well. Guys, I've just taken the sucker off one of our roots of the apple tree. You've got to make sure that you keep these things cleaned back, so you're always going to get suckers come up throughout the season. It's good, you know, just ensure that you're always maintaining. They only take nutrient away from your tree. There's no reason to leave them there. Take them deep, get them down as far as you can. You're also looking at trying to bring form and shape back into the espalier. So anything that's coming up vertical off an existing horizontal, you really need to clean it back. This is a shoot that would have come up pretty much in the last season. So we're taking it back near the horizontal, and we're going to feed that to the goats. So when you're pruning, you're looking for second and third year wood for fruiting purposes. This is normally denoted by ring marks. This ring mark here would be second year, and as we follow that branch along, we come up to where it would have been first year. So this little section just here in front would have been the part that grew in the last season. Just remember that when you're pruning, and especially if you're new to it, just be gentle. You don't need to get there and necessarily prune everything hard back. If you prune it back hard, it's going to promote growth and not fruit. So just be gentle with your pruning, and if you're unsure of a particular shoot or branch that's coming out, just leave it. You can always catch up. The good thing about fruit trees is they are forgiving if you're gentle. If you go hard, well then there's some repercussions that'll come from that.
Here we have the trellis structure and espalier. You can set the height to suit your reach and have as many rows that works within that height. Apple and pear trees are sold as bare rooted in winter, which is an ideal time to purchase deciduous fruit trees. Plant in prepared raised grow mounds that can be terraced or swaled, mulch well and apply biofertilizers like fish and seaweed emulsion and vermicast liquid. With the right preparation, the first season should see some quick growth. If all goes well, by the following winter, about a year on, there will be multiple branches shooting, where then all the growth except the two strongest branches are cut away and tied down to the bottom of the wire. The second grow season should see again multiple branches shooting from the horizontal main branches. This time, the end horizontal branches continue to be trained along the wire, whilst all other growth is cut away except the one middle upright that will grow up to the next wire. In the following years, this process is repeated, the tips are tied down, and the upright growth is cut away. In 3 to 4 years, your espaliered apples or pears should be taking shape and providing fruit. For multiple wired systems, which can be 2 to 6 wires, it will take much longer to fill out the growing zone, though fruit production will happen. When fruit set is observed, it's time to net using the simple hangover net system and attached with common house pegs.
Hey guys, thanks for all the love on the last video. Hope you enjoyed this one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We've got more content coming out real soon, and we'll catch you next time.